pretty good game plan, baby.
It helps if you can get the other team to jump off sides, though.
I couldn't tell if Dickey went for a long count or what it was because...
Automatic.
Did he automatic
He
on the
changed it,
thing?
yeah. Mac Davis, I say he looks like.
Mac Davis. He does look like Mac Davis.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I like Lou Carpenter.
He was. McCaskey's a good guy, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Bernie will kick off. The Packers have taken the lead. There's Frank Pollard, deep man for Pittsburgh. Line drive kickoff and a good one from Bernie. Chases Pollard back into his own end zone. About 3 yards deep when he started. He's on his feet. Out to about the 16-yard line. Mike Jolly made the tackle. There's the Packers scoring drive.
And Dickey is 7 for 12 for 140 yards and 2 touchdown passes to his fullback, Mr. Ellis.
Ellis made one-handed high over his head. He took that one about 6 inches off the turf and then turned on the afterburner.
Well, I saw the Packers in preseason against Baltimore on a rainy night in Milwaukee, and I had Maximilian next to me, Mr. McGee, and Paul Horning, and Gary Knaufel, and we all said it was the worst-looking Packer team we'd ever seen. Starr has done some job.
They've really come a long way. Here's Bradshaw firing outside to Thornton. Breaks one tackle, breaks another. Fights for about a yard after all that. 14-9, Green Bay over Pittsburgh.
We got an injury, too. The arm tackle that Charlie Johnson, the nose man, put on. He's also from Maryland, and it looks like he just grabbed his left arm. Active Mr. Noseman. He's right there on the other side of number 12. He'll engage Webster, gets hit by Brown, and somehow gets out to help in on the tackle. Boy, is he hustling. Yeah, it's his left arm, all right.
Cannot afford to lose him. Now they're checking his left leg. It's the first game the Packers have played this year, I think, on artificial turf, isn't it?
It's true. This guy is really an active nose man. They went to the 34. They were worried about could they get anybody to play it, and
the guy they got to play it went elsewhere.
Talking about Clark, the big fellow that went from Penn State to the North Lines.
Right.
It's his leg, all right.
Terry Jones, number 63, will take his place. Third-year man from Alabama. In front of Webster. That could be a long afternoon. Don't waste any time going right to work on that spot. That's Sidney Thornton, who struggles out for 4 or 5.
They trapped him that time. They let the young nose man through. And watch Ray Penny, number 74. Now watch this. They bring the tackle in, John Kolb, all the way from the outside. Kolb only goes about 265. Straightens up the young man that's very nervous coming in anyway. But I'll tell you, the Packers recovered pretty well.
On 3rd and 6. Bradshaw has not had a good afternoon so far. The one touchdown pass to Swan. Look out, Terry. Ball is knocked loose. That's a fumble, and the Packers have it. Ezra Johnson came around from the right side. Casey Merrill is number 78, who made the recovery.
There was a big pass rush from the blind side, and Bradshaw has hurt the right arm again. This is almost the way he got stripped against Oakland. Watch the left part of your screen now. Sidney Thornton moves up, but he helps on the tackle, and here comes Ezra around the horn. And strips him of the ball, takes him down. That's the 4th fumble that Bradshaw's lost this year.
Again, that's Casey Merrill who made the recovery. Bradshaw over on the sideline, and Cliff Stout is up and throwing behind the Steeler bench. He played the entire game against Cleveland last week. The Packers get a break. Ball up the 11-yard line. Green Bay already leading. Eddie Lee Ivory straight ahead gets to about the 10. He is popped by Gary Dunn.
There's Stout, the young quarterback from Youngstown State. Boy, he had a big day last week against Cleveland, over 300 yards.
A lot of speculation here in Pittsburgh that he perhaps is trade bait, because they have another fine athlete as their third quarterback, Malone, the rookie, who's bigger than Bradshaw and a great prospect.
Better keep all three of them.
Second down. Blitz. Touchdown attempt to Thompson is thrown behind him. He was well covered.
Glenn Dickey only had one chance. He had to either gun it and get it then or get caught with the ball. And as any quarterback will tell you, including Terry Bradshaw, don't get caught with the ball. Get set up quick, unload it, and let the receivers take their chances somewhere else. It's very congested in there.
Bradshaw up walking around. Packer touchdowns. Bernie loosening up.
That might have saved a life. That means somebody was coming and ripping.
You mean somebody like Lynn Dickey?
Like Lynn Dickey, that's right.
It is 14-9. That was incorrect. Packers leading. Here comes the blitz again. Dickey's protection is better. His pass is picked off in the end zone by J.T. Thomas, who had ideas about coming out and then kneeled in the end zone. And the Steelers will take over at the 20.
The Steelers have 17 interceptions coming in. Look at Johnson's play on Andre. Sit back in the end zone. This ball was just high and wide.
Bradshaw back at quarterback. That's correct. Green Bay 14, Pittsburgh 9. First and 10 for Bradshaw. He still has Thornton and Franco Harris as his running backs. Looking for Swan, trying to get away from the rush, cannot. Down he goes. Mike Butler was the first Packer to arrive. Terry Jones helped him out.
Butler got his 6th sack of the year. He's played extremely well in spurts. If the big fellow playing left defensive end plays at a high level all the time, and he may learn that from watching Pittsburgh, he can come. Right part of your screen, fake the inside thing. They're running a takeoff with Swan, and now Terry turns away from that, and Butler just stays after him. Great play.
Bell goes wide to the left, Swan out to the right. 2nd and 17. Franco Harris lowers his head for 2-3. Johnson, the injured Packer. The nose man headed for the locker room on a stretcher at the moment, but he's sitting up. Hard to tell what the degree of the injury is. We'll find out as soon as we can.
But it was to the leg and not his arm.
3rd down, 17.
Bradshaw,
excuse me.
Sorry, Bradshaw is like 1 for 6 on 3rd down conversions.
5.5 minutes left to play in the second quarter with the Packers leading the Steelers 14-9. Bradshaw calls it. Again under pressure. Bradshaw is hit just as he lets it go, and a penalty marker goes down. Ezra Johnson put the rush on. A holding is a preliminary indication.
Big Casey Merrill was also in there that just recovered that fumble, number 78. They're putting a lot of heat. And this is one thing that Bradshaw has always had an abundance of time.
Holding number 55. Decline a penalty. That's 4th down.
John Kolb was trying to block Ezra Johnson, and it didn't work.
So Craig Colquitt enters the scene again. Fred Nixon back deep.
Colquitt has never had one blocked, I don't believe, in his history.
Well, no,
very quick.
Woo.
Good kick. Nixon surveying things at his 38. That's Cassidy, I beg your pardon, not Nixon. Number 88. Nixon is usually back there. Frank Pollard made the tackle. Winston is a little upset about something. As does Hood. Doesn't like him much, I don't think.
And over by the Green Bay bench. Even at home, that's not safe.
Injured Packer player down is number 62. That is Buddy Idlet. He is normally their center on punt formation. He's had problems today. I don't know what their backup man can do. Next Sunday here on CBS, the NFL will present Dallas at New York, Washington, Chicago, Atlanta at St. Louis, where we'll be. Detroit, Minnesota, San Francisco, Green Bay, and Philadelphia at New Orleans.
This artificial surface is really firm here at Three Rivers. And those shoes are so good. Once you get them down, it's hard to get them moved. You can't do any shuffling.
The traction is so good.
Almost too good.
Checking his left leg.
How many people you suppose came from Green Bay? They have such a loyal Packer backer bunch up there. I bet you
a lot of them.
A few thousand came down here. I saw a lot of yellow and green running around the lobby last night.
The Packer coach who was the quarterback back here in 1970.
He was not running around the lobby last night in yellow and green.
Chuck Noll and Terry Bradshaw. Part in conversation with Eddie Lee Ivory. That's how the quarterbacks have done so far today. 4 out of 10 for Bradshaw. 28 yards. That one touchdown to Swan, and Dickey 7 of 14. The 2 touchdowns both to Ellis. Turdell, Middleton, and Ellis are now the running backs as Ivory gets a rest. Comes Lofton out to the left. Thompson goes to the right.
Turdell Middleton can play too. He's been bothered with minor injuries, but he's a good running back.
They've got 5 good running backs now. That's Middleton. Into Steeler territory for a couple of tough yards before Dennis Winston leads the Steeler defense.
The first day you and I ever saw Dirt Winston after he left Arkansas was in a preseason game against New England. You remember he got into a fight with 3 or 4 of the old veterans for New England? He is tough. That time he actually, he looked like he was getting ready to bite the ball carrier. He was so mad getting in there. He's hot all the time.
Chuck Noll says that he is the best athlete he's ever seen.
My gosh.
That's some tribute.
Played in place of Jack Lambert.
In the middle. And jockeying around for position now behind Joe Green. The pitch is back to Middleton. Middleton's got some room, and he's got a Packer first down. Winston again on the tackle. But a good run by Middleton.
Good block by Stokes, the big offensive left tackle, number 76. This is a tough play to run. In the past, you couldn't get away with this. They buried Robin Cole on that side over there, and he ran behind Joe Green. Some of the people didn't know where Turdell was going.
Joe usually creates havoc when he lines up in that position. Slanted in, and almost on top of the center, like he is right now. Bills 14, Atlanta nothing. Here is Dickey to Middleton again. Middleton has more good yards, down to about the 36. Jack Ham on the tackle. Yepremian's field goal in the second quarter has given Tampa Bay a 10-0 lead over the Giants, who are really having their problems.
Turdell's in his 4th year now, but a couple of years ago, he was just running wild. He's out of Memphis State. He started getting the small injuries, the ankle, the knee, the soreness. He's a quality running back.
Here's the deep back now behind Ellis. Intended for Lofton. Lofton takes Blunt out of bounds, but he played that well. Mel Blunt has been doing that for years.
This is his 46th interception. Of all the active players, he is the leader. They get a double now on Lofton. He's got deep help from Wagner. And this time, Lynn Dickey just didn't read it. They had rolled up to the split end with the great receiver. And Mel Blunt's got number 46.
And there is another injured Packer on this play. We'll identify him as soon as we can. It's Leotis Harris. We'll check on him in a minute.
Excellent protection that time. It was just a wrong read, which happens occasionally, doesn't it?
Green Bay 14, Pittsburgh 9. The Packers seem to be losing a lot of players due to injury. Atkins, Johnson, Idlet, and now Leotis Harris.
Talking to Mel Blunt before the game, and he said by the time I get used to the new rules, they'll probably put in another one and I'll have to stay a few more years and play again, you know. But he plays without the chuck about as well as any cornerback. Everybody else is going to their psychiatrist at least once a week, you know, that's playing corner.
This is Harris, who appears to be okay. Perhaps just stunned a little bit. Came over to try to help out make the tackle after the interception. I didn't see who blocked him, but somebody did a number.
Got Swan and Theo Bell in there at the outside receiving spots. And that offensive line for Pittsburgh you're looking at, I think every one of them in their bench press is almost 500 pounds.
Grossman is still the tight end. Jim Smith is down the wide receiver on the left side. Swan was on the right. Here is Franco Harris looking for some room. And the Packers again swarm on defense. Terry Jones, the first man there.
Pittsburgh has always used their outside receivers, and they're so good so much. But occasionally you think that they probably should use the tight end or throw to some back coming out of the backfield.
Swan comes down to the bottom of your screen. Smith up on the left. Franco now with 7 carries. Fake to Harris, screen to Harris. To Thornton, I beg your pardon. And Sidney Thornton barrels for a Pittsburgh first down. Stopped by Johnny Gray.
Good call, though. We're not trying to act like experts on this, but your outside receivers, you can double them, and if you don't have a tight end that can split it, this time the Steelers send Grossman all the way through the formation, then drop it off. The big rush right now doesn't even worry you. And that is a runaway truck.
Down to the 41-yard line. There goes Randy.
Took 2 linebackers and a couple of defensive backs with him.
So the Steelers in Packer territory at the 41 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Harold Betters on the trombone.
Funky trombone. Boy, he's like,
First and 10.
he's as much Pittsburgh almost as Arthur Rooney, you know it?
He's been here since I've been coming here, and that's a long time. First and 10 at the 41. Bradshaw's got to throw on first. It is a pretty good idea. Right down the middle, drop. Sidney Thornton had it. And then left before he got full possession.
Did you see him talk to the ball in? He looked down at the ball like he was talking to it like it was an animated object. Like, how did I drop you? He had some year last year, didn't he?
Sure did.
Second down and 10.
Second and 10, a minute 55 left in the first half. Packers 14. Pittsburgh 9. Both teams have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
They've been a bad fourth quarter team this year, but Pittsburgh, if they get it rolling, as they did in the Super Bowl, they're fast forward in that fourth period.
Second and 10 for Bradshaw. Packers stay with a 3-man rush. Bradshaw to the outside. Smith has it. Out of bounds at the 18. Johnny Gray on the coverage. That was a Bradshaw throw.
A Bradshaw throw and a Smith corner move that was really great. He's the top of the screen now. They got a double on him. They got the cornerback McCoy and the safety man. He just takes it inside, gets away from one, and bends away and beats double coverage. Incredible.
They have a wealth of wide receivers. When you think about the 4 that they use, Swan and Stallworth, Smith and Bell. A lot of talent there. They all will block, too.
And they'll all come across the middle, too.
Swan to the right. Smith again to the left. Fumble Bradshaw gets on it, and the Packers come up with it. I don't know what happened to that, but I do know the Packers have the football. Number 53, Mike Douglas, comes out with it.
Looked like he might have pulled away from Webster, and that ball, by the way, when that center shoves it up there, it's just being like blown out of a cannon. It is really slapped up there. Big turnover. Looked like it hit somebody's foot, did it?
I couldn't tell. It looked like he did come out a little early. Bradshaw had it for just a second, then hit the artificial turf and jarred it loose.
That's Cumbie, I think, that came in. They must have been blitzing anyway, huh?
Things have not gone well for Terry.
He seems to hang tough, though, and later in the game, he'll look like a different person sometimes.
At the 34, first down for the Packers. And again, they have all three of their timeouts remaining. Lynn Dickey goes straight back on first. Outside Ellis, he's got some people in front of him. Ellis still on his feet. Still on his feet. What a hit. Dennis Winston took the bulk of that. Boy.
What a play this is. Here's the young man that when the Rams got back Youngblood and Larry Brooks from their fishing trip, the Rams cut loose this Ellis. Now watch this play. Good call. Lynn knows that's what it's going to be all the way. It's a slip screen. Watch Joe Green come all the way. Almost look at this contact with Winston. He's strong.
Dickey on first again. Throws intended for Lofton. It's picked off. Donnie Shell with the football. Penalty marker down as Thompson makes the tackle. And a little disturbance breaks out again. Shell is upset.
And Dirt Winston's upset again. His helmet's still, he's got the ball. That's Donnie Shell with 6th interception of the year, one of the premier safety men that's been around for a long time.
That 6 is his career high, too.
Most of the interceptions you get at that spot are deflections because you're so busy trying to control a tight end or something that if it's deflected, you have a chance to go over and get it by being energetic, you know.
Ben Drive will mark it off.
Personal foul, clipping, number 53.
It is against Winston.
I thought he was mad about something. He plays crazy, but that's not bad if you're playing middle linebacker.
First down, Steelers. A couple of quick turnovers. Steelers have the football at their own 28. Bradshaw with plenty of time this time. Throws down the middle intended and hits Smith, and Smith takes a rock in the back. Johnny Gray really put the leather to it.
It's the one thing that all of the safety men and all the quarterbacks for Green Bay will do. They will really stick you. And they're in a lot of solo coverage. And, boy, that time the ball just came out. But Smith is tough. He hangs.
That halftime feature as Brent Musburger talks to Roman Gabriel, coaching in college now.
Oh, he had a couple of tough starts. Some shot by the safety man, huh?
It'll be second down at the 28, 10. Clock shows 50 seconds left in the first half. Bradshaw to Thornton. And there's a meeting at the sideline. Mark Lee was the first man to hit him.
Packers are playing extremely deep in a prevent type defense. And I know some people have been beaten in the last few seconds playing this kind of a defense because you don't get pressure, but you really have to go with a percentage, I think.
8-4, third down.
4-yard pickup makes it 3rd and 6. The Packers, with their record 3-4-1, tied with Tampa Bay for second place in the NFC Central Division. Detroit's first at 5-3, so that one will probably be settled the last month of the season. Steelers in second place in the AFC Central, a 4-4 record. Bradshaw trying to better that. Pass thrown outside to Swan and caught by Swan. It looked like he might be hurt the way he hit the ground. Estes Hood is on the coverage, but Swan's okay.
I don't believe they're going to call it a catch. I believe Estes rode him out of bounds just before he could get him down.
It is incomplete.
This was an audible. 64 blue is what Bradshaw kept calling down there. The ball is not thrown very well. This ball was not zipped. Swan was waiting for the ball, and it just didn't get there. Bradshaw did not throw that the way he normally guns it.
Colquitt. Punt for Pittsburgh. Cassidy back for Green Bay. Colquitt gets it off quickly. Cassidy. With some running room, stays on his feet. Still on his feet. Cassidy will go out of bounds in front of the Packer bench, but a good return. Good block by Casey Merrill set up that.
Cassidy comes out of Utah State, out of the rugged country, I guess around Provo or somewhere in there. Pretty good little ball carrier, isn't he?
Comes in as the third wide receiver. No penalty markers down on that one.
Did you watch Herschel Walker yesterday, the Georgia Bulldog?
I saw him when he was in high school.
I tell you, he might be the fastest big fella to come along in a long time.
Just 18 years old. He is really something. He's the closest to Jim Brown I've seen.
Strong, big, and likes to play.
And has handled everything very well. First and 10 at the 44. Dickey to Middleton. Middleton running well. Gets across the 50-yard line. Stopped by Blunt. Green Bay still has 3 timeouts. So does Pittsburgh. The Packers just used 1.
Pretty good running play that time. The guards got out in good shape. Leotis Harris and Goforth. That young offensive line that's playing against the Joe Greens and all's doing a pretty good job for Green Bay. You know, they're growing up.
Very young team, the Packers. What was that average?
24 years of age average. Funky trombone of Harold Betters. I used to listen to him for long periods of it at a time.
Thought we were going to go hear him last night.
But once we were lucky, we didn't get out of the hotel.
Couldn't find him. Zeke. And Bart.
Kowski's been some kind of an assistant for Bart Starr, hasn't he? Next door neighbors,
Yeah.
Good friends, and
Said he cleans the driveway,
gets the rock salt out for him.
sweeps the tennis court, cleans the pool. Job security. 14-9. Green Bay over Pittsburgh. Bradshaw looking on. Dickey looking and throwing has Ellis for a first down. Penalty marker is down. And a scuffle goes on.
Dickey's pass to Ellis.
I thought that was a reception. I believe it was a fumble.
Like he had it.
He carried it a couple of steps. I think the holding was on James Lofton, huh?
By Blunt, I believe. Way over on the sideline is where the penalty marker went down. Once he gets 5 yards deep, he is not fair game
Defense,
anymore.
number 47. That's
was
an
what?
automatic first down.
Automatic first. The Packers, don't forget, have 2.
Green Bay ball to Pittsburgh.
St. Louis leading Dallas 7-0. Touchdown by Morris for the Cardinals.
When the rules were changed, they wanted to put more points on the board.
That's worked.
It sure has.
With 9 seconds to go, Dickey will probably throw it as high and as far as he can if he has time. Kaufman in motion. 3-man rush by Pittsburgh. It goes to the sideline intended for Middleton and overthrown. One more play will complete the first half. Lauren Taves on the coverage, number 51 for Pittsburgh.
I think Dickey's come up with a strange little cadence. It seems a little bit rocky and herky-jerky, and he's kept the Pittsburgh defensive line, at least in the second period, a little bit off the mark a little bit, so they can't get that split-second rush that Joe Green and his people like.
They've always been one of the quickest teams off the ball. on defense. Pittsburgh, I mean. That staggered count that you were just talking about really helps. Hoffman out. Dickey for Lofton. And he hauls as it. And is knocked out of bounds on the far sideline by Dwayne Woodruff. And that was indeed the last play of the first half.
Boy, what a shot that number 80 took, Lofton, and he kept the ball and gets right back up, wondering if they have another play.
So at the end of the first half, the Green Bay Packers, who've been coming on in recent weeks, lead the defending world champion Pittsburgh Steelers by the score of 14-9.
Lofton, last time you and I saw him personally was down in the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. He said to tell you hello. Remember, that's when he was wearing the red, white, and blue national track. Yeah. He's quite an athlete, isn't he?
The NCAA long jump champion at one time. You say some athlete. I've always thought about this, and it seems they do it at almost every stadium, particularly when they have locker rooms in this layout. The teams have to cross to get to the locker room, and if anybody's mad at each other, that leads to trouble sometimes.
Old Forbes Field here in this stadium, and I know Mr. Rooney remembers the teams used to sit side by side on the same side of the field. And when fights broke out, you had to figure out which bench you were going to play for.
I guess the only place they still do that, both benches on the same side of the field, is in Minnesota. 14-9, Green Bay lead. All right.
Now what happens?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we take great pleasure in presenting to you the famed Morgan State Universal Magnificent Marching Machine.
Okay. Okay.
Young Kylie, you going to bring any hot dogs or anything in? Okay. I am starved. I didn't get a chance to eat, I don't think, last night.
Yeah, you did.
Did I? No. I'm just going to stick around here. Stick around here.
They're really good.
Morgan State?
Yeah.
Ron says, why is it that all the black school bands always look like their feet are bobbing? You know, it's such a...
No, sir. Man, that hurts.
Guess I should go down and I hope that.
Today's show entitled What Else But? Salute to the City of Champions. Watch the magnificent marching machine as they give their salute and precision to the theme song from the movie Vegas.
An apology? Right? We have to get an apology? I don't know. No, but I have been to New York. That's that day. I don't know if we did or not. Nobody said anything.
Hard to believe, Terry. He's been throwing 200, 300 yards every game. He looks like crap out there.
His arm, finger's got to be bothered.
Yeah, it's got to be. He hits one in the first quarter, man, to touch the receipts. And you notice Swan, his rib injuries here. Every time he catches, he falls on that side. That's about the third or fourth time I seen Smith catch a pass and drop it. Yeah. He had one for a touchdown in one of the games they lost.
As the machine moves into their next formation, we salute the Super Bowl champion Steelers, featuring our symbolic of the Steeler Church performing Larry Graham, 1 in a million, because the Steelers are truly 1 in a million.
Here's your halftime if you want.
Johnson's walking. Busy? I thought it was 32, and I looked around. He was 99, was still on the bench.
move to music is very simple. So watch as while machines execute their cross drills, the majorettes do their snappy routine as we salute the city of Pittsburgh with the band performing Old-Fashioned Love by the Commodore. Moving into concert formation, where the stage is being set for our fabulous Foxy dancers doing their first routine to the sound of earth, wind, and fire. Let's be talk. Magnificent marching machine is moving into block band to do their dynamite dance routine. So watch Pittsburgh as the machine salutes you to their version of One for the Thumb to the sound of cameos, Shake Your Pants.
What the?
University.
Sure.
Magnificent marching band, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a great Pittsburgh reception, everybody.
Okay. 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 We, could you find out or ask whoever you ask about the injuries? Because I had said that, you know, that Johnson was
35
hurt.
yards rushing.
Atkins was hurt. Okay.
35 yards rushing the Steelers had. Rushes.
What do you say?
Somewhere, maybe in the second half tonight, a CBS News special report anchored by Dan Rand. The special report will focus on today's developments in which Rand agreed to the release of the hostages if Khomeini's conditions are met. Somewhere, maybe during the game.
He's been sacked twice,
All
huh?
right.
Bradshaw has. Gosh, and with all the problems they had starting out with the safety and all.
Yeah.
Packers have 166 yards passing and 50 yards rushing.
Okay. Well, it's okay.
Matt Barr in his Little League uniform. I'd like to get one rush on him. Like I said, Gene Johnson after you. I said, go get him. You're right, kid. Sandy? Sandy?
No, thanks.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, Robert. Okay, just tell him to try to get John Kolb, number 55, offensive left tackle, sometime this third quarter. Debbie, his wife, had a baby last week right after the Cleveland game, and